what's going on, guys? Some kind of hate here, and today I got some Homefront Multiplayer for you guys. Yes, this game is finally out. As you guys know, it's been a long time coming for me. I've been looking forward to this game for quite a while now, so it's finally out. And this video here is going to be pretty much, my first impressions of what I think of the game so far, and overall, if I think this game is worth it to you or not. So I'm going to try to do the best I can. There's a lot to cover in the multiplayer, but I'm just going to share with you guys, my first thoughts and what I think of it. So today I got a game of Team Deathmatch, and this is on a map called Lowlands. Now, right as you spawn into the game, you're going to see you kind of like, spawn in from the air, as opposed to most first-person shooters where you spawn on the ground. It's kind of cool, I think, because it's a nice feature that when you're spawning in, you can actually kind of see and get a glimpse of where the enemy team might be. So you can think about your opening routes so you don't just run into an enemy line of sight and get destroyed. But today you're going to see I'm using the M4, and I have a holographic sight on it. Now, so far in the assault rifles, I've really only used the M4, the ACR, and the SCAR. Now, there's also, light machine guns, sniper rifles, obviously, and submachine guns. And I got this game at a midnight opening at GameStop. So I also got an exclusive shotgun, which I haven't even bothered to use it because the maps in this game, as you're gonna see, are they can definitely be contenders with some of the Battlefield maps. There's a very large maps in this game, but it kind of makes up for it because in Homefront it can hold up to 32 players in the multiplayer. So things can get pretty hectic, especially when you're involving tanks, Humvees, attack helicopters, all these kind of things, drones flying around. It can be a pretty crazy atmosphere. And if you guys haven't heard much of the storyline of this game here, this is actually a game that takes place in the future, the near future, in 2027. Now, the whole theme of the game here is that North Korea invades the United States, and you're actually fighting in your homeland, which is where they got the title Homefront from. And they were trying to give the feel that you're actually, fighting for your own country and fighting for your family and where you live and the neighborhood that you live in. So a lot of the maps you're going to see references of things that you might actually see, in a regular old neighborhood or a town or something. Like they actually use like company names. Like you're going to see, some donut shops, some gas stations. There's even a White Castle, like the burger shop and stuff like that. So it kind of, tries to grip the emotion that you're actually in, something you actually care about, which was like the main idea that they were trying to do to grab people into playing this video game. Now, I haven't actually played the campaign yet, but I'm sure the campaign will stress that a lot more. But you can still see it in some of the multiplayer. Like here in this map here, you can see there's like a gas station, a lot of buildings, and other maps as well. There's just like regular old houses and stuff like that. But I think it's kind of cool how they did that. And one thing I want to talk about in this video here is how the multiplayer feels and how the battle point system works in this game, which is something new that Homefront is trying to introduce in a first-person shooter. So if you're playing this game for the first time, the feel and the look of the game, you're going to think of like probably like a Battlefield game or something like that. When you're moving around, your guy kind of does, waddle, which is very similar to what like Battlefield and Medal of Honor looks, anything coming from the EA series, but it actually doesn't feel that way. Like a lot of people complain that in those type of games that your character feels really sluggish. Well, if you could find a medium between like Call of Duty and say Battlefield, this is kind of what it feels like. You're moving around and you don't feel extremely heavy than you would in one of those games there. But when you aim down sight, I want to say that it compares a lot to Medal of Honor, and you can definitely lock on guys, and there is, a significant amount of recoil. I've only really used, mostly the assault rifles, because I'm mostly, a assault rifle kind of guy, and there is recoil to this game, so it's not like, you can just pretty much just spam the trigger and, not try to selective fire to try to get somebody long range, because it's definitely a little bit more difficult than that. Now, the only problem I have with, when you're shooting at somebody is that there isn't like a really significant hit marker sound. Like when you're hitting somebody, you don't actually really know if you're hitting them other than the fact of looking on your screen and seeing the little markers show up. I wish they would put a little bit more work into the audio so that when you're hitting someone, you actually know you're on target. But I mean, you can always just use the visual to assure that. The graphics in this game, I really didn't know if they were going to look that great or not, because a lot of the previews and everything I saw, people were complaining that the graphics look like shit. Now, I have no problem at all with the graphics. I mean, I think they look great, in my opinion. Especially, you know, running such huge maps and having 32 people in your multiplayer. I think they did a really good job, so I'm happy about that. And secondly, I wanted to briefly touch up on the battle point system in Homefront, which is something completely new that they're trying to introduce. So like in Call of Duty, you have your set kill streaks, you know, 3's UAV, 5's like whatever, 7 and so on. In Homefront, you actually have a battle point system which builds up throughout the game and progresses. So let's say, you know, you have 2 different equipment that you can use in the beginning of the game. If you look at the very bottom of my screen right now to the right, you're going to see the D-pad. Up on the D-pad right now, I have assigned a land drone, and down is a Hellfire missile. So I have these 2 things set. Now, depending on, you know, what class setup I have, I can have each class set up with different equipment, so they don't all have to be the same, so they're not set kill streaks. So for instance, I can have one class for shooting down air support, another class for, you know, just calling in UAVs, one class for all, like, you know, predator type missiles and things like that. So it's a little bit more customizable, and you can use your class setup to adapt to how the game's playing out and what you think you might have to use to win the game, which I think is kind of cool and is definitely a lot more different than your typical first-person shooter. I feel like introducing this into the game was a really cool aspect and everything. I'm still trying to figure out how to use them effectively, and, you know, how to fly around the helicopters and all those kind of things, which is also another thing too about the battle points. You can not only just use them to assign equipment, you can also use your battle points to, you know, spawn in as a tank, or spawn in as a Humvee, spawn in as a helicopter, you know, pretty much whatever you want. You can save up your battle points and use them so the game progresses and gets a lot more active as it goes on. And, you know, it leaves a lot of different options to how you can play out just one game. Like, not every single game is going to be completely predictable, and, you know, you're going to think that everything's going to go the same way. Well, depending how other people play, it might determine how you're going to play as well. So I know playing Homefront so far, I've actually had to, you know, switch up my play style a little bit just to be able to adapt to the game style and the situation and everything. So it's kind of cool. But you know, this gameplay is almost over here, guys. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick review of the game. I'm going to be uploading a lot more Homefront, so stay tuned for that. I also got some sniping gameplay I'm going to post as well, and I'm going to try to use you know, a different assortment of all the weapons, like some of the submachine guns, the exclusive shotgun that I got from the GameStop pre-order and everything like that. So if you guys aren't already subscribed to me and would like to see some more Homefront, definitely feel free to come check out my channel and subscribe. And hopefully I can answer a lot of your guys' questions, you know, wondering whether or not you guys think this game is worth it to you or not, because I know a lot of people are probably wondering that question right now. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like on it. That would mean a lot to me. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Peace.